Good morning to everyone. Call this hearing to order. Let me first thank the witnesses for taking the time and making the investment of your talent for this committee to appreciate the issues that are challenging so many Americans around the country. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Our committee seeks to answer a simple question. How do we make life more affordable for families in South Carolina and, frankly, around the country? That is a question I hear all the time at home. How do we make this economy work for families who are already working hard, but too often there's just too much month at the end of the money? Housing is too expensive, food is too expensive, borrowing is too expensive. Everyday life is simply too expensive. A family in Walhalla, South Carolina, trying to buy their first home, a small business owner in Greenville trying to expand, or a senior citizen in Rock Hill, South Carolina, living on a fixed income should not have to wonder whether Washington understands what it means to choose, I mean this sincerely, to choose between prescriptions or groceries. Affordability is not created by government programs, more red tape, or more spending we cannot afford. Affordability comes from promoting competition, innovation, and opportunity. That is why Senate Republicans have been focused on results that will bring relief to everyday Americans. We are approaching the one-year anniversary of the Working Families Tax Cut Bill, a bill that has put more money in the pockets of Americans who desperately need it. Because of this bill, 97% of Americans received a tax cut this year. 97%. And the people who benefit the most are people earning less than $200,000 a year. Hardworking American families will take home nearly $300 a month more because of the Working Families Tax Cut Bill. Let's not forget, every single Democrat in the Senate voted against cutting taxes, which would have led to a $5 trillion tax increase. This committee has already advanced efforts to improve housing opportunity, create clear rules for digital assets, strengthen our markets, and make the financial system work better for everyday Americans. Our 21st Century Road to Housing Act, which just passed the Senate by historic margins, I think it was 85-4 yesterday, almost nothing happens in the Senate. Nothing happens in the Senate, 85-4. We cut red tape, we are unlocking housing supply, and preserving local control. I look forward to President Trump signing that legislation into law. The Genius Act, signed into law last year, established a first-of-its-kind regulatory framework for payment stablecoins, fueling financial innovation in America and creating economic opportunity. The next step is solidifying American leadership in digital assets, in completing market structure legislation, and I'm proud of this committee's work to advance Clarity Act on a bipartisan fashion. Beyond legislation, we also have pushed for better implementation of my Credit Score Competition Act. So millions of Americans who are today credit invisible will have an opportunity to earn the kind of credit scores and interest rates that they deserve by populating all of their information on the credit scoring agencies. And we have supported thoughtful regulatory right sizing that helps protect consumers without driving up the cost of credit. Unfortunately, too many in Washington still believe the answer to every problem is more government. We saw this during the Biden administration. Reckless spending and heavy-handed regulation made life more expensive and made it harder for businesses to invest, lenders to serve their communities, and builders to build. We should be clear, regulations, they have a cost. When Washington makes it harder for a bank to lend, a business to invest, a builder to build, and an entrepreneur to grow, those costs do not disappear. They show up in higher prices, fewer choices, and fewer opportunities for American families. That is why cutting red tape is also an affordability issue. Agencies should protect consumers, not be weaponized for a political agenda. The Biden administration should never have used the CFPB to target disfavored financial sectors, restrict access to credit, or punish responsible lenders. That made it harder for families and small businesses to access credit while making financial products more expensive. Senate Republicans are working to bring these costs down at the same time the Biden administration was working to raise those prices. Families in South Carolina and across the country are still living with the consequences of the Biden-era policies in their monthly bills, their mortgage payments, and their household budgets. Families do not need more slogans. They need lower cost, better opportunities, and a government that gets out of the way as Americans try to build a better life. Today, I look forward to hearing from our witnesses about practical steps we can take to lower costs, expand opportunity, improve affordability, and reduce unnecessary regulatory burdens without growing government.